It's January in South Dakota and it's cold outside, but we've got a hot show for you this week. We'll hear from an old friend, Mark Skogerbo. Stacy Waldman will tell us about a March for Life in D.C. Sam Kephart scares us again about extending presidential terms. And I'll share some thoughts on firearms in a civilized society. I'm burning in here.
South Dakota hasn't been the same since Mark the Freedom Poet hit the borders of this state. Mark, welcome to the set today.
I'm happy to be here. It's a grand thing.
You know, it really is. I want to talk with you about something that's not so grand.
No.
Discouragement. We've seen the body of Christ and Republicans in general just sort of, their countenance has dropped since the election. It was almost unbelievable to some of us that Obama would win a second term. And now we see a horizon filled with tragedy. Tell us, what do we do?
And doubt and fear and people saying this is the most dire time of our history. And I think they are right. It can
Yes,
be.
they are, yeah.
Unless we can encourage each other and the general body of Christ. Think about how beset the Israelites were when Goliath was out there ranting and raving and making fun of everybody, and little David comes strutting up.
Yes.
It is amazing when we stand up and say, this is wrong, it will not stand, and even better yet, like it says in Ecclesiastes, if two of you are together, it's hard to knock you down.
Well, and you mentioned David. You and I talked a little bit earlier today about King David. Later in his career, when he was discouraged, he encouraged himself in the Lord.
That's right.
We must do that.
His Psalms are a great place to repair, both for confession, for strength. The 35th Psalm is what our First Continental Congress prayed and wept for 3 hours, and out of that birthed a unity like they'd never had before.
Talk about that just a little bit. I know you're a student of history, and those 3 hours when they were laboring over and praying and weeping over that psalm, ladies and gentlemen, these were the founders of our nation.
Yeah. The representatives from the 13 colonies, and here the British were moving people into homes, just saying, we're taking your home. The Boston Massacre, taxes without representation. A lot of them wanted to get rid of slavery. They say you can't do that. The king loves slavery. A lot of them wanted to have their own church. No, the king says Anglican church or nothing. They want to have their own governor. No, the king is going to appoint their governor. Here they had lived for 150 years apart from England and felt like they were their own people, and they were being so oppressed and so dominated that they were broken to weeping.
Talk about discouragement.
Yeah, they were so discouraged, and so David was equally discouraged one time and talked about, God contend for me. Lord, you fight my battle. The people that are laying the snares for me and the traps, oh God, let them trap themselves, you know.
Well, that would be a good prayer today.
Yeah. If we can just pray that the evil that is intended by the evil one himself and his minions, if it turns back on them. I pray, in fact, it's really good. One of a great way of it being encouraged is to have a common prayer. I prayed with a brother last night, and we prayed until we were both encouraged.
Well, sometimes that takes a while, doesn't it?
It does take a while. And then come up with a plan. You know, another thing in Psalms, it says, without a vision, the people perish. If we can come up with a plan of action that we agree on, and then maybe find 3 of us, you know, the threefold cord is not easily broken. Once we commit to an action that is in the will of God, of course, the first secret is, what is your will, O God? But when we have peace about that, there's great power in it and the unity that we can gather around us.
And when brethren gather together in unity, there's great encouragement. And have we ever seen a time when we need more encouragement than we need today?
Never.
These are discouraging times.
Yep.
If we take our eyes off the Lord, because without Him, we are indeed lost and dying.
You know, we all think we know the path ahead of us. Until now, more people are totally uncertain about what the future holds. So now, guess what? We got to trust on God. We have to trust Him to lead us and provide for us.
Well, you know the story about the manna in the wilderness. You couldn't even collect more than a day's worth.
That's right.
You had to depend on the God of the universe to provide. That's where we are today.
Just in time God.
Yes, He's never late. And I don't know if I've ever seen him very early, but he's certainly always on time. So it's time for the body of Christ and conservatives across this nation to rally together in unity. Unity of purpose, unity with a moral foundation, and depend and expect God is going to move.